Welcome back to Epic Film Sleuth. Today, we're diving into the action-packed superhero film, Venom: The Last Dance. This marks the final installment in the Venom trilogy, with Tom Hardy returning as Eddie Brock and his ever-hungry symbiote, Venom. Spoilers ahead. If you haven't seen it yet, consider this your warning. On a distant world called Clinter, far from Earth, a powerful being known as Null, the god of symbiotes, is imprisoned. Bound by the very symbiotes he created long ago, Null's hands, feet, and body are restrained. Once the ruler of a dark empire, Null's reign was shattered when light invaded his domain, stripping him of his power. Null commands the Xenophages to scour the universe, searching every planet for the Codex. Null opens portals, sending Xenophages to various planets across the cosmos. Meanwhile, on Earth, Eddie Brock is sitting in a bar in Mexico, the same one he was last seen in during Spider-Man: No Way Home. As he listens to the bartender recount the story of Thanos and the Blip, Eddie begins to feel the effects of Doctor Strange's spell, which pulls him and Venom back to their own universe. Upon returning, Eddie and Venom realize they are still in the same bar. Venom, ever the mischievous symbiote, extends tendrils from Eddie's body to prepare a drink, catching the bartender's attention. At the same time, Eddie notices a news report on the bar's TV announcing the death of Detective Patrick Mulligan. The police suspect Eddie is responsible and are actively searching for him. Realizing it would be too dangerous to return to San Francisco, Eddie decides to head to New York, where he plans to blackmail a corrupt judge to clear his name. After paying the bartender and leaving the bar, a small piece of Venom is accidentally left behind on the counter. As Eddie walks away, he hears dogs barking and follows the sound to a sketchy area where innocent dogs are caged. Confronting the men responsible, Eddie warns them to release the dogs and leave. When they refuse and open fire, Venom takes over, transforming Eddie into the towering, fearsome symbiote. Venom easily overpowers the criminals, smashing their heads and freeing the dogs. Unbeknownst to Eddie, a Xenophage watches him from a nearby rooftop, while a mysterious figure monitors his movements through street CCTV cameras, their face hidden in shadow. The mysterious man monitoring Eddie Brock through CCTV cameras remarks that Eddie has reappeared and it's time to capture him. He contacts General Strickland, instructing him to track Eddie down. Without delay, General Strickland heads to the bar where Eddie was last seen. Upon questioning the bartender, Strickland learns about a strange visitor with multiple stretching arms that could grab things from a distance. Convinced this is Eddie, Strickland orders his team to knock the bartender unconscious and take him away for further interrogation. Meanwhile, at Area 51, the secret US facility rumored to study extraterrestrial life, Dr. Payne, a scientist, is working on several captured symbiotes stored there. General Strickland is also present, studying the symbiotes to understand their motives for coming to Earth. Dr. Payne explains to Strickland that symbiotes behave like parasites, capable of forming bonds with other creatures. However, she has yet to find a host with which the symbiotes can establish a stable relationship. At this point, Dr. Payne receives news that a man already bonded with a symbiote has been located. Dr. Payne then takes Strickland to a containment room where Patrick Mulligan, the detective previously thought to be dead, is being held. Mulligan, however, refuses to cooperate. Still bitter and betrayed after the symbiote he bonded with abandoned him, leaving him for dead. Hey, if you're enjoying this video, make sure you subscribe and notifications so you don't miss future content from me. During their conversation, it's revealed that when Mulligan was first found, he was lifeless. The scientists managed to revive him by bonding him with another symbiote. Suddenly, Mulligan stands and approaches the glass wall of his cell, but the voice that speaks isn't his, it's the symbiote's. The symbiote warns Dr. Payne and General Strickland of an impending threat: Null, the god who created all symbiotes. The symbiote explains that Null is also responsible for creating the Xenophages, one of which recently attacked Eddie Brock. Long ago, the symbiotes imprisoned Null, but now he seeks to break free. To do so, Null needs the Codex, a unique energy tied to Venom. The symbiote further reveals that when a symbiote resurrects its host, it generates this energy, known as the codex, which is essential for Null's freedom. The scene shifts to a flight heading to New York. Venom tells Eddie they are on their way to clear his name and live in peace. However, a Senage, tracking Venom through his complete transformation, has made its way onto the plane. A brief but epic battle ensues, with Venom throwing the creature into the plane's turbine, disintegrating it. After the victory, Venom apologizes to Eddie, saying he must disappear to protect him. Venom jumps off the plane, transforming into a parachute to land them safely. Later, we are introduced to a family that has made significant sacrifices to fulfill the father's dream of visiting Area 51. As they tour, fragments of the Senage fall near them, but they are too excited to notice. Eddie, still upset, demands answers from Venom about the creature. Venom explains it was a Senage, a symbiote hunter, and if one has arrived, more will follow. Venom also shares more about his origins. Null, the creator of the symbiotes, forged these beasts after being betrayed and imprisoned by his own creations. When Eddie mentions Null's name, Venom reacts in terror, warning him never to say it again, as it could draw Null's attention. Venom explains that Null is hunting them because Eddie carries the Codex, a unique life force created when Eddie died and was brought back by the symbiote. The Codex is a key capable of freeing Null from his eternal prison. The Senage can only detect the Codex when the symbiote takes its true form, but it can manifest in smaller ways without being discovered. If either the symbiote or the host dies, the Codex disappears, which neither of them wants. As they continue their journey, they spot a horse and use it to cross the desert. Meanwhile, Strickland and Dr. Payne debate the nature of symbiotes. Payne believes they are running from something, while Strickland thinks they are just migrating. Their conversation is interrupted when they receive word that a man jumped out of a plane under strange circumstances. Strickland deploys his troops, who quickly track down Eddie and Venom. To save Eddie, Venom throws him into the ocean, and they try to hide. However, they are chased down and separated. Venom's shape shifts into a fish to escape, while Eddie, cornered, shoots an agent to save himself, leaving him deeply shaken. Venom is eventually captured and begins to weaken. At that moment, Strickland witnesses the Senage, which has picked up Venom's signal and moves in to capture him. The army focuses its attack on the Senage, allowing Eddie to escape unnoticed. Later, Strickland briefs Dr. Payne on what happened, and she begins to believe Patrick's warnings. Eddie, now on the run, tells Venom they need to stay hidden until they reach New York, as they are being hunted by special forces and the police. After hearing Strickland's report, Dr. Payne visits Patrick and his symbiote. She tells them that the Senage has arrived. Patrick's symbiote shifts into its true form and reveals that it senses other symbiotes, but the one Null is after the black symbiote isn't there. Eddie eventually meets a kind man named Martin, who is traveling with his family to Area 51. Martin offers Eddie a ride to New York, and Eddie accepts. In New York, Eddie changes his clothes to stay undercover and heads to a casino. Venom expresses a desire to see the Statue of Liberty, and Eddie promises they'll visit after resolving their problems. Inside the casino, Venom forces Eddie to gamble, resulting in him losing all his money. Eddie then runs into Mrs. Chen, who welcomes him back and offers her help. However, General Strickland's team soon captures Eddie, using a device to extract Venom from his body. Both are taken to Area 51's lab, where Eddie encounters Patrick Mulligan, who urges him to protect the Codex. General Strickland plans to shoot Eddie to destroy the Codex, but Venom, having bonded with Dr. Sadie, intervenes. Venom fully transforms to save Eddie, but the Xenophage tracks them and attacks the lab, killing Strickland's men. Patrick sacrifices himself to buy Venom time to escape. As the Xenophage wreaks havoc, Dr. Sadie releases the other symbiotes to help Venom fight. The battle intensifies as more Xenophages arrive through portals, overwhelming the symbiotes. Severely injured, Venom tells Eddie the only way to defeat the Xenophages is to face them together. Venom bonds with all the xenophages, luring them toward a powerful acid that can destroy them. To save Eddie, Venom separates from him and sacrifices himself by plunging into the acid with the xenophages, killing them all. Eddie falls unconscious from his injuries and later wakes up in a hospital. A senior military officer thanks him for saving everyone from the xenophages and clears him of all charges. Eddie is free to live his life, but deeply misses Venom. He visits the Statue of Liberty, fulfilling Venom's wish. Credit scene, Null, enraged by his champion's fall, vows vengeance, declaring all worlds will burn under his reign. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into epic films. And hey, hitting that like button really helps us out.